Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Zahir bin Amir Sharifuddin. My matric number 9190635. Today I would like to talk about consumer. Consumer has a narrower meaning and it is defined in the context of commercial or business dealing between the consumer and the supplier of good or service. Section 3 Clause 1 of the Consumer Protection Act 1999 define a consumer as a person who acquires a used good or service of a kind ordinarily acquired for personal, domestic or household purpose. The second one does not acquire or use the good or service or hold himself out acquiring or using the good or service primarily for the purpose of resupplying them in the trade. It is the first one. The second one, consuming them in the course of a manufacturing process or in the case of good repairing or treating in trade other goods or feature of land. Besides, consumer also need to be protected from all sort of unfair trade practice of market operators, such as protection against sale of defective, substandard and dangerous product, and variety fraudulent trading practice such as false advertisement, misleading price indication, false description of good and others. Consumers are also facing problem of insufficient information and limited choice to exercise a prudent product buying decision. Consumer protection laws are thus designed to ensure fair trade competition by preventing business that engage in fraud or other unfair practice from gaining an advantage over consumer. The law particularly focus on a sale of good contract, the most common type of contract entered into by consumer in their daily life. Under the existing Malaysian law, a contract of sale of good including online sale can be divided into three types, namely the first one, commercial sale, a contract of sale of good between a seller and a commercial buyer for business purpose, that's mean B2B. And the second one, consumer sales, it is a contract of sales of good between a seller and an individual consumer for personal, domestic or household purpose, B2C. And the last one, private sales, a contract of sales of good between two private persons, C2C. That's all from me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Nurima binti Asmadi. My matric number is 9190630. I'm from ttl2 ktl1. Today I want to present to you about the protection for e-consumer. As you know, this protection will prevent harm for e-consumer by the salesman, such as sale of good act, the Protection Act, and the Direct Sales and Anti-Fraud Scheme Act 1993, i.e. the SASA. Okay. The recognition of the need for some form of consumer protection means the introduction of the Direct Sales and Anti-Fraud Scheme Act 1993, i.e. the SASA. The Act deals with two types of sales connected to direct selling business, namely door-to-door sales and mail order sales. Mail order in the original definition is only confined to a traditional mail by post, and the Act therefore had no relevancy to e-consumer. However, in the amendment of the DSA in 2010, the scope of mail order has been extended to include any other means of mailing, including through electronic means, for instance, laptop, smartphone, iPhone, iPad, Android, computer, and smartwatch, and any others gadget. A new section 19A provides that no potential supply by sale or advertise for the supply of through electronic transaction any goods or services except in accordance with this Act or the regulation. A clear effect of the amendment is that all e-commerce companies must have direct sales license and comply with this direct sales law. and protection for consumer under the Act are not equally applicable to the e-consumers. The most important aspect of online sale is how the good or services are advertised by the company. Section 20 specifies the content of the advertisement in mail orders. For example, A. The name and license number. B. The address of such person, which shall not be a postal box number. C. The telephone number. D. A detailed description of the goods or services. E. The place and time where a sample of the good may be inspected. F. The price of the goods or service. G. The cost and the manner of delivery. H. The time when the goods or services could be expected to be delivered. This information we will know in the description of the Telegram or WhatsApp, or we can know it if it's stated in the forum posts like in Instagram, and we also can ask those information or question to the seller. Okay, next, under Section 21 is an offense for a person to furnish false information in advertisement, and Section 22 requires by the sale of the goods to be available for inspection by the public at such place and time as may be specified in the advertisement. Failure to do so is an offense under the Act. This regulation obviously aims to protect e-consumer from false advertisement and from dealing with bogus company. Further, the DSA requires a contract which is above 300 to be made in writing and shall contain the provision of cooling off period 10 working days. During this time, the consumer has the right to cancel the contract without any reason by giving the written notice to the vendor. However, the DSA is a penal statute which requires strict enforcement to be effective. Thus, even though there has been a very significant amendment to the Act, the adequacy of this statute in giving protection particularly to e-consumer has yet to be proven. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Elisa bint Asri. My metric number is 9190590. Our topic is protection for e-consumer. As we know, nowadays we are more likely to buy something online or on online shopping website. So we are called as e-consumers. This is why we as e-consumers, we need protection. The CPA provides protection. The CPA, which is the Consumer Protection Act, provides protection for e-consumer against misleading and deceptive conduct, false representation, and unfair practices. This is contained in Part 2 of the Consumer Protection Act, which mainly concerned about providing sufficient and correct information to the consumers, because the consumers' problems are actually caused by lack of information and awareness of product and suppliers. This is particularly crucial for e-consumers who rely totally on the web page. Unfair trade practices in online shopping may include misleading price indication, such as bait and switch. It involves the advertisement of product or services by traders at an extraordinary low price to make sure the consumer wants to buy the product. So once the consumer wants to buy the product, then the consumer will be informed that the product is actually out of stock or not available for various reasons, but they offered another product which is the higher price one. Obviously their real intention is to sell the higher price product, and the low price is just a bit. Section 13 of the Consumer Protection Act provides protection for e-consumers from this kind of advertising technique. Section 13 of the CPA stated that no person shall advertise for supply at a specified price goods or services which that person does not intend to offer or supply, or does not have reasonable grounds for believing can be supplied. Another technique that frequently used by e-traders is giving gifts, prize, or offers. Section 14 lays down the rules to be complied with if this method of sale promotion is used. Section 14 of the Consumer Protection Act stated that no person shall offer any gift, prize, or other free item with the intention of not providing it or with the intention of not providing it as offered. Non-compliance with the regulations under Part 2 is an offence. The protection for e-consumers has been further strengthened recently by the enactment of the Consumer Protection Electronic Trade Transactions Regulation 2012. The regulations apply to all online business supplier and online marketplace operators, including a private person. It mainly concerns with providing sufficient and correct information to the consumers, since many of consumers' problems are actually caused by lack of information and awareness of the products and suppliers. This is particularly crucial for e-consumers who rely totally on the information given on the web page. E-traders are now under a duty to disclose relevant information as specified under the regulations, which are similar to Section 20 of the DSA above. In addition, online traders also must provide the appropriate means to enable the buyer to rectify any errors prior to the confirmation of the order, and they must also acknowledge receipt of the order without undue delay. The acknowledgement of receipt shall be deemed to have been received by e-consumers when they are able to access to such receipt. That's all from me. Thank you.